For our next session, we have with us Nishchal Shetty, the founder and CEO of WazirX, India's largest cryptocurrency exchange with over 8 million users. Wow. He's here to talk about how India can become a hub of blockchain and cryptocurrency innovation. Joining him is our moderator, Vinod Mahanta, senior editor, The Economic Times. Over to you, Vinod.
Regulators across the world are struggling with crypto regulations. We've seen we've seen countries like China ban it. There are other countries which are still in the process of creating regulation. India has been in wait and watch mode. The message in India is that it's a risky asset, but people have adopted the asset class in droves in India. Crypto as an asset class, does it make sense for India, Indian investors, Indian companies, Indian economy?
Absolutely. I mean, look, there is this whole, the zone of being high risk, and that is true because it's a new technology. It's a high risk asset class, but there's also this, I would say, the opportunity of being an early mover in the space, which is much more when it comes to innovation. Innovation always has a risk of failure, but the bigger risk is of one where you do not latch on to that innovation early and lose out when that innovation grows. A simple example would be software and then internet. If you see, India's progress in the last 10-15 years has been largely driven by the whole technological progress we've made as a nation. What if we were skeptical about the internet, for example, and stayed back? I don't think we would have seen the kind of growth we've seen in our country. Now, crypto is that third wave of innovation on the internet, and a lot of people call it Web 3.0. And us being a software nation, I don't see any reason why we should not be involved. What we should be doing, though, is be cautious about it as investors, as as a nation. Be cautious, but I don't think we should be ignorant. Because then we'll have a large price to pay, especially in crypto, because crypto is all about network effect. And what that means is, as the crypto networks grow bigger, they're more valuable. So as a nation, if we are early, we'll be those, the part of that initial network, which means we'll have a larger, I would say, a par in terms of, let's say, skill development, or in terms of having access to these assets early on. A lot like that. In the gold rush of the late 1800s, or the real estate market, or the stock market boom, all of that, I think that's a similar thing that you're seeing. Now, the good thing about crypto is it's also not very, very new. So over 10 years now. And there are also institutions around the world getting in, governments around the world are talking about it. So I don't see a reason why we should not be part of it. We should, in fact, get deeper so that we are ahead of other nations. Now, for example, in terms of regulation, other nations have also not really cracked it. They're just discussing about it. So I think it's a good time for India also to start discussions. We don't have to really have a regulation right away, but we should be on that path. And the good thing is I'm seeing that already happening in India right now. So I think overall, as a nation, we're doing the right thing. We've got over 20 million people in India now into crypto. That's a good number. The world is taking note of India as one of the top crypto nations now. So net, I think we are doing well as a nation in crypto.
I was really surprised yesterday when I saw your numbers compared to Zerodha. You have more subscribers. That was shocking. That means masses are adopting it. The crypto story is going beyond a few investors. So one of the things that I wanted to understand was that in terms of regulations, how do you rate the Indian government's response? We've been in wait and watch mode. What will the price of this inaction be?
So I think if we were discussing 2017 to 2018, I think there was inaction. There was no response from the government. But 2019, 2020 has been really good, and 2021 has been the best in terms of government moving ahead. Like, we had our finance minister talk about regulations. She specifically gave video interviews where she said that India will take a calibrated approach. and that's a great move forward. We also have a bill in the parliament which has not been yet made public, but there is at least work on some bill that was done. I think where we are lacking right now, compared to a lot of other nations, especially the US, is a participation of the industry. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened yet. Though my interactions with whatever interactions we've had, I think what I'm seeing is that willingness to now start getting deeper. And as the government gets deeper, I think next would be industry participation. In parallel, what we are doing as an industry is, we have a self-regulatory code of conduct. We don't want to wait for regulations to come in India. We want to be like put out that model framework and already implement some of the things on our own. So some standard things like KYC, for example. All of us exchanges, including WazirX, we ensure that there is KYC of every customer. Though we are not mandated by law, but we are doing it. So I think there's movement in this whole space from the government as well as from us in the industry, and somewhere that path has to meet. That hasn't happened, and I think hopefully in the next few months, I think we'll see that happening.
What's really heartening is basically we've seen a couple of very big private equity on VC deals happening. That means investors have faith in the India crypto story, and there are a lot of good companies which can come out of India.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fact, I think this would have happened sooner. Unfortunately, we had this whole banking restriction, which in 2020 the Supreme Court overturned, which was a good thing. That sort of opened up the market for new entrepreneurs to come on board. For a lot of people who were sitting on the sidelines, worried what is the situation, they got that opportunity to get involved. That's why you saw this whole boom in the number of people in India getting into crypto. And same with investors. A lot of investors around the world, they were always interested in the India market. See, India market is a large market and you cannot ignore. You cannot be a investor and not have India as a part of your portfolio. Same with crypto investors. Anyone in crypto who's a VC firm investing in crypto, there is no VC firm I've come across who says that we don't want India as part of it. But they had this reservation because of the banking issue that we were facing. Now that it has opened up, now they're all coming in numbers. What we are seeing is, I would say, just the beginning. Some of the top known companies are getting funded, but I think what was going to happen next is even at the initial stages. So the kind of funding that you're seeing right now is where you have to painstakingly like establish yourself as a entrepreneur, as a founder, as a company, and then you'll get capital. Now what was going to happen is, even with your ideas, and if you're early stage zero entrepreneurs, they'll start raising money from external investors. And I think that's going to be the next wave where we'll see maybe hundreds of startups in India succeed in crypto.
So one of the things that's worrying, or that people will be watching, is basically the launch of Indian e-currency, just like Chinese are planning. How do you think the market will evolve? Can you give some clarity to the investors who want to invest in India?
Look, I think at least in terms of our own, central bank digital currency (CBDC),
Yeah.
I think I'm very excited about it. The RBI has spoken in not a lot about it publicly, but they've shown that they have an intent to launch it. Now, if you look at the demographic of India, I think we have over 200 million people in the country who do not have a bank account. And one of the objective of our government is to push for digital India and a digital economy. Now, for when you launch a CBDC, when let's say our RBI launches a central bank digital currency, the benefit it has is these unbanked population can just instantly, they just have to download a wallet and they become part of the digital economy. That's amazing. It's like your cash comes online, and cash is in the hands of everyone. So what will happen is a CBDC will make sure that everyone who does not have a bank account can also get involved in the whole digital economy. And that will give a boost to the whole online sector in India. So I'm very hopeful about that. In terms of how I see this evolving, this entire sector in India, is we've now just seen I would say the layer one companies, which is companies like exchanges, which are wallets, or service providers, intermediaries, I would say. The next step is where we'll see a lot of decentralized projects coming up from India. Right now, you hear of a lot of decentralized projects which are global, but no one from India has built large decentralized projects, and that will happen. Like your protocols on DeFi, a lot of blockchain related companies will start up, and then they'll start focusing on the Indian audience. Before this, if you were launching from India a decentralized protocol, you had to focus on the global market because the India market was small. There were like 4 or 5 million people. Now there are 20 million plus people in India. So you can build India specific decentralized projects. So that's going to be very interesting for the next few years.
So one of the major pain points has been this whole banking relationship with crypto, and it's been on off, and it's been going on. It makes people nervous. It makes investors nervous. It makes global investors nervous. So where do things stand today?
Um, I would say it's better than before, but not the best. What I mean by that is, though there is no official restriction on banking access to the crypto industry, banks are still a little, I would say in the they I would not say that they don't want to, but I would say they're a little worried about the lack of regulation, because if you look at the financial industry in general, it's so used to working with regulations, with frameworks, that now suddenly you have an industry where there are no regulation, no framework.
Yes.
So for a banker, the problem is, what do I do? I've not operated in this kind of an environment before, and this is where I think the participation and the dialogue between the industries is going to be very important. And we've been doing that, and we've been seeing banks opening up slowly and slowly. First, it was the smaller banks. Now the larger banks are taking interest. In fact, we are talking to a few large banks in India who want to be part of it, but they want to understand first, what does it take in terms of compliance, and it becomes just harder because there is nothing set in a framework already. So I think a few more months before we see a few large banks open up, and it's like that thing. You need that one or two, three large banks to open up, and then the rest of the banks will follow suit. So everyone wants that one or two early movers in that space, and I think we are going to see that happen in the banking industry in India very soon.
One of the things that worries a lot of investors wanting to put money in Indian projects is basically the whole taxation issue, and that's still not solved. So industry is talking about whether crypto should be taxed on end use or it should be used on technology. What's your view on this?
Look, I think as on now, right now, whatever gains you make, I think you have to pay it on the highest bracket, and it's a safe approach for you as an investor. We are seeing some countries where there are capital gains options on on crypto income, but I think it's too early for India. I think right now, just treat it as regular income. Whatever profits you make from your investments in crypto, just pay the right taxes, and I think that should be good to go. But yeah, I think the at least from what we are seeing, the tax authorities are also taking interest in understanding this sector. They've been discussing and talking to a lot of exchanges in the country. Recently, we had our where companies are now supposed to disclose the kind of crypto assets they are holding. So what is happening right now is India is in the data collection stage, I would say. The regulators and everyone is just collecting data to understand, and eventually I think we'll have more focused laws, but until then we'll have to go with just pay at the highest bracket.
Sure. You've spoken about India as a software nation. Do you think this is also an opportunity for us to create more employment? We could go ahead and innovate and be leaders in crypto technology, crypto processes, crypto experts.
Absolutely. And employment, the way I see employment term itself is changing now. It's not just about me getting a job, but I could also work on my own. And what we are seeing in, especially in crypto, is first is that wave of influencers. The last 5-10 years, India saw a lot of influencers on Instagram, Twitter, everywhere. And for them, crypto seems to be that amazing way to monetize their influence, where crypto is no longer the domain of, let's say, only a financial expert, but a lot of people, even non-finance people, they're understanding the technology, and they want to talk about it to their fans and followers. So for them, that's a new kind of I would say income generation option. Then apart from that, you're seeing a lot of people trading in crypto with a day job. So you might have a job. The good thing about crypto, unlike the traditional market, it's a 24/7.
Yes.
So you don't have to compromise on your 9 to 5 job, or you don't have to choose between this and that. So I'm seeing a lot of people working the day, and in the night they get into crypto, or weekends they get into crypto. So that's another, and that's one of the reason why we are seeing tier 2 and tier 3 cities in India, for example, on our platform. More people are signing up from there than even the metro cities. It's spreading crazy because of the flexibility that you get. And the other important thing is all the startups. I think startups are anyways creating a lot of jobs in this space. So I don't. I think this is an amazing job opportunity for sure. And my estimated, we are going to see tens of thousands of people who are going to be getting. Crypto would be a source of income. Whether we see that as an employment or any other way, but it's going to be a source of income for I would say hundreds and thousands of people.
What's the time frame you see when I can go out, maybe buy a samosa with
Look,
the
I think it's a very ambitious. Yeah, it's a very ambitious question. And
yeah.
but the thing is, I wouldn't. At least I come from a different point of view. India has cracked regular payments. We have UPI, which is free and instant and 24/7. So I don't see that to be a problem in India. In some nations, it is. In India, we have other problems where crypto can solve. For example, the simplest and the most exciting is remittances. India is one of the largest remittance nations. We have, I think the global remittance market is about 400 or 500 billion dollars, and India has over 10-15% of that market. Now, the problem with remittances in India, if you see the money that has to reach your family in India, it takes about a few days to a week, and you lose about 7 to 10% in in transaction costs in between all the banks that are there from various countries, and then your transfer, your forex changes and everything. Now, with crypto, one is you can instantly send the value back to your family, and it will be instant. And the second is you don't need a middleman. So your $100 worth of Bitcoin, let's say, when you transfer to your family in India, it's worth $100. There's no slippage. So India can save $4 to $5 billion in middleman fees if India just adopts, your whole crypto as I would say, a transaction mechanism for international exchanges. So this is just one of the thing. The other is CBDC, what I spoke about, where we can bank the unbanked. I think that's a greater thing to solve in India. So there are quite a few things. I don't think a everyday transaction would be something that India should be looking at, because we have UPI and it's solved.
Sure. My last question is, what are your three main asks from the government?
I think the first most important thing is industry participation. That I would request the government to pull the industry together so that we can also provide our point of view and our data points to help formulate the right regulatory framework. The second is positive regulations. We are a software nation, and this is one of the greatest innovations in software. And regulations will help us a lot. And the third is education. I think that's the most important thing. Education around crypto. Maybe involve it in the syllabus. Maybe push other institutions around the country to promote education of this technology, because that will help us skill a lot of our people in the country, and we'll have an upper hand in this technology as we, as this technology grows.
Thank you so much for sparing time out of your busy schedule. It was a pleasure speaking to you.
Thanks a lot, Vedant.